My name is Couchcoop, and I want to start, if I can, like most YouTubers do, and try and sell you some Raycon earbuds by saying thank you very much for the engagement on my previous Far Cry videos. Far Cry 3, 4 and 5 are certainly very interesting video games, and I have covered them extensively and never went to 6. And get this, 6 is the only true 9th gen Far Cry out there. It is a very stunning game, an excellent looking world. But to my shock and horror, there is no graphics toggle, and we're looking at a locked God only knows what, and we have screen tear. We have screen tear not even when stuff is busy. It's not huge, none of it really makes sense. And seeing as it came out in 2021, I was quite taken aback because they gave 4 a sort of 60 frames per second patch for the 9th gen machines. And 5, well, you all know how I feel about that. This Far Cry's got friggin' all of it. Planes, amazing vehicles, tanks, horses even, motorbikes, absolutely beautiful 9th generation graphics set on a fictional Caribbean island. It almost has some Cuban parallels and areas with the architecture and the cars. Literally a couple of days after its launch, there's big name reviewers putting their content out saying it's just boring. I saw one thumbnail that just had the word meh in it. Yeah, I imagine bro had to dig really deep for that one. But it's 2025, Coops, all different, everything's changed. They might have patched it, put new things in. Look at Cyberpunk 2077, look at No Man's Sky. Here's my take on it. If 3, 4 and 5 didn't exist at all, we'd never played them, and this came out, I don't think a lot of people would be slagging it as bad. It's just that those previous games in areas are so damn strong that this just feels like a cheap mimic, but a very good looking one. A cheap mimic in an expensive suit. Those other mentioned IPs, No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk 2077, they were blatantly, deeply cherished by the studios that produced them. Ubisoft are just like, nah, leave it, it's fine, let's get on with Shadows. I think that's consequenced the amount of games that they have on their calendars, what with releases and development, and I think what's happened is they've totally learnt their lesson. They must have seen the numbers go down from 5 slightly, because obviously that wasn't as popular as 3, so the next thing in the series, I think they're going to really concentrate on, in other words, not make it shit. The other thing that became glaringly apparent is how important a good villain is for the series. That became really obvious with New Dawn, which is something I really wanted to love. The story of Far Cry 5 and how it ends, I was just amazed to see that they would still push out content in that canon. It is rumoured to be a big bit of DLC, but there was something really attractive about the idea of that game. Once you play it, you realise the term DLC was a compliment.
Finds calm before the kill.
Sí, papá.
And here he is, Giancarlo Esposito. Giancarlo, he plays Anton Castillo, who appears to be a sort of self-elected dictator. Crops up at the beginning, all over the intro, more importantly, all over the trailers. Now, this guy has had 217 acting roles in his career, and you probably know him from Breaking Bad or just playing every off-the-wall villain in everything. He must have cost a fortune. I wouldn't say he's completely dialing in his performance, but I would say that for any further Far Cry games, I would get in a smaller name who will give it their all. Vass was peak, we all know this, it was incredible. That guy gave us everything, and the whole damn video game hung off that performance. And we need that again, we need that magic back. I genuinely think massive amounts of the budget went over to hiring this dude and not into good development, new people on team, exploring different areas, updating that UI, pushing the actual video game a bit further, making that map busier, larger, full of more wildlife. It is one of the more desolate when it comes to on-land creatures. They've done quite well with the sea. You've got some sharks and crocodiles, but there's not enough killer bears. But Coop, it's set in the Caribbean. Fictional Caribbean. We can have fictional killer bears. Fictional Caribbean killer bears. That might be the thumbnail. Is there anything remotely positive that you want to say about the game at this point? Yes, there certainly is, and you might have seen it happening. A sacrilegious third-person mode comes up and a weapon gets fired from my backpack. These can be changed out, and you also have at 12 o'clock on your weapon wheel a slot for a special libtard weapon. Pretty sure that's the name of it. These can be upgraded, switched out. You're constantly given new ones. The flamethrower is pretty awesome. There's a nail gun. There's a big iron spear-like crossbow thing, which is pretty satisfying. Exploring that was definitely a plus. And back to that third-person thing, they've also given you an armor set to jostle out different helmets, stuff with resistance, that sort of thing. I always look at the Far Cry series, the protagonist, as someone a bit Gordon Freeman-like. Silent, you never see him, you never see the body, you don't need to. Look at these graphics, look at these reflections. It's gobsmacking in areas. When the rain comes in on the tarmac, you see flawless visuals everywhere, breathtaking in places. And that also brings me on to some of the special featured weapons. There's a rudimentary design to them, cobbled together almost. Some of the silencers are just bottles that are strapped onto the end of the gun. The more you use it, the hotter it gets, and you end up getting incendiary rounds. Smaller details and personalities on some of the special edition weapons is really amazing. I found a pistol which is basically a flare gun, set everyone alight. It was so OP that I took it off of my weapon slots and just went back to traditional bullets because everyone was dying so fast. You can also craft mods and start strapping all kinds of things on to the standard guns, muck around with the skins and start putting different scopes on. There is quite a lot of detail behind the actual armaments. I found myself giving far more of a crap about that than any of the NPC characters, where the story was going, or if that villain was going to turn up again.
Danny, how's it going?
I'm by the plantation.
Go to the coast, south of the fields. There's an anti-aircraft cannon near an airstrip there. Suerte.
Gracias.
They also tried to keep the novelty buddy system intact, giving you a massive crocodile off the bat, but then you get a little sausage dog called Chorizo that's got 2 wheels as back legs. They become quite comedic, but do still remain relatively handy. And they've also given enemies a sort of staggered damage technique, with some of them having armor and chunks to take off before being able to actually genuinely wound them. You've got the boss's special forces that come in. Oh no, let's all start trembling. I wouldn't say the pushback from the enemies is the weakest in the series, but it's certainly nothing to get you worried. There's also something else extremely important missing from this game, and yes, you guessed it, a theme and decent music, full stop. I think 3 may hold the crown for me, but 5 has got some awesome tailored music which just surrounds the story, increases that crazy magic. There's just some like Cuban, Mexican, Spanish songs on the radio, that's kind of it. There's nothing recognizable about the soundtrack to Far Cry 6. That one blew my mind. It's like, why would you miss one of the main pillars of your game series like that? Why would you do that to everybody? And that brings me on to the disconnect theory. Some of the people that made this may not have actually played a Far Cry game. I also fell slightly foul of some of its instructions. There's a lot of bases and gates and roadblocks on the map which have their own symbol that relates to their status, whether they're still occupied by the enemy or whether you need to take them out. And I love doing that sort of stuff. That's got Just Cause written all over it. But it turns out in order to flip them over to your side, you have to get the signs as well, the billboard things. I think I spent about 4 hours trying to take a roadblock down, and of course they keep pumping in reinforcements. Hopefully that one will help some of you. Side note, not everyone's as thick as you, Cube. It's pretty obvious that billboards are a staple when it comes to occupying a military installation. And here comes a little bit of good news. Far Cry 6 is not an abysmal 9th generation first person shooter, single player, I'll give it that. Although it does want to lean on the online, here's a slot available, player available, do you want to invite, all that sort of stuff, it does look after player one pretty damn well. It is also available on both subscription services at the moment, Game Pass, and we have it on Extra, the slightly higher echelon of paid Sony access.
Cojones. I'm not the first to find them.
It is worth a peek, I feel, at that minimal cost. Incidentally, I ran this on the PC for a while before it came on to PSN, and graphically that poor old 1660 was chugging. This is definitely visually the meatiest Far Cry game ever made. That goes through ballistics, the smoke, explosions, dissipation, not really enough buildings going down, however, Battlefield 6, but in good spirits they also didn't dumb down the fire mechanic. It's just as rife as it is in 3 and 4. I think 5's got the most retardant fire of the series. Comments on that? Kudos also for having one of the better fishing sections of all of the games, being able to switch out the skin of your rod, no smutty jokes in the comments on that sentence, is amazing. The fish look awesome, they're everywhere. There's also massive sharks in this game and a larger plethora of catchable fish, baits, trinkets. I was very happy with this section, but you're not supposed to be going to play a Far Cry game for the fishing. Everybody knows if you're going to be looking for that sort of thing, Stellar Blade has the best angles, angling. If I play this game, will it pollute all my amazing memories of those previous Far Cries? No, not at all, because it's very separate. That's the other thing about it, is the whole canon, characters, universe. It all just feels a million miles away from what we're used to when it comes to the storyline of a Far Cry game and the location. You're out and out starting a coup/revolution on an entire country. You're not scuttling around trying to avoid a psycho high on hallucinogens in the middle of the jungle. I'm sure you've all been to Southeast Asia with your girlfriend at one time or another.
Shit!
Are you going to include, Coop, your cursed outro from the other Far Cry videos? Well, it's not cursed anymore. It's actually maybe subliminally helped them a little bit. So yeah, I was Couch Coop. Hopefully I haven't scared you off Far Cry 6 too much, and I will, of course, see you down there.
Yeah!
Walk the path.
Shut the fuck up! Okay? I'm the one with the fucking dick!